Do the right click.
I'll unmute myself first and that'll work a little bit better. But thank you
Josh,
all.
I'm unable to start my video still.
Oh, we will run into technical difficulties. We'll get those figured out as soon as possible. My apologies there, Kathy.
It's okay.
I'm sure that Meg and Dana are probably encountering the same issues here. Well, this is a fun thing to run into, huh?
Well, if that's the only problem, Josh, everybody's going to be looking at the slideshow anyway. I don't need to be on the screen at all.
I'm all about it myself too.
Well, we will run with it then. And
yeah, absolutely.
So I appreciate everyone's understanding, and we'll get the technical difficulties figured out for next time. So like I said, I appreciate you guys all taking the time out of your Thursday to join us today to talk about Field Play 60. This is the second installment of our webinar series called Fuel Greatness Anywhere. And today we'll be covering two different plays than what we did in September. So today we'll be covering the physical activity play called Recess Refresh. It's Not So Elementary, and the healthy eating play, Farm to School, Know Your Foods. As similar to September, we'll have myself and Meg Magsman, who are the Fuel Play 60 team at American Dairy Association, Indiana. I am the Youth Wellness and Communications Coordinator, and Meg is the Youth Wellness Program Manager. Just like, again, as in September, we are joined by two fantastic program advisors from Batesville Intermediate School and Margaret Mary Health. Dana Cassidy is the principal at Batesville Intermediate School, and Kathy Cooley is a community dietitian with Margaret Mary Health. Both have worked together to do great things through Field Play 60, and we'll share here in a little bit, but we'll kick things off here. I guess for those of you who don't know first, very briefly, Field Play 60 is a partnership between the National Dairy Council and the National Football League in cooperation with the USDA. The whole goal of Field Play 60 is to really get your students active and eating right and help them develop those healthy habits for later on down the road and really just lead happy, healthy lives for years to come. So without further ado, I apologize again for there not being video that is on our end, but we'll kick it over to Meg Magsman to cover the physical activity play, Recess Refresh, It's Not So Elementary. So Meg, take it away.
Very good. Hello, everyone. This play is highlighting one of the 5 options within Fuel Up to Play 60 for you to really activate the physical activity options. The hope with each of these is that you have really broad options that you can customize to fit your school and their needs. Bringing this group together, our hope is to give you some ideas that maybe your team hasn't thought of that might be a good option for you. This first one here is a really cool idea that's inspired by some of our partners up at Keenert Dairy in Fort Wayne, where they built out this huge Ninja Warrior course for the kids that come to their property for farm tours. In a recent farm visit from one of the schools in the area, they saw how engaging and fun this activity was for their students and decided to apply for a Fuel Up to Play 60 grant to be able to put their own Ninja Warrior course in at their own school. So almost think of similar to a fitness course and other options that are out there. And thought what a cool way for the kids to get physical activity, whether it's before school, during recess, or at the end of the day. There's other options as well. And after this webinar, we're going to be sending the video out along with some really cool resource sheets we're putting together that give you some additional options. We'll show you an example of one coming up, but some other things for Recess Refresh could be new items for your blacktop, whether you wanted stencil kits that the kids could interact with no matter what the weather is. New equipment, Gaga balls have been a big piece that Josh and I have seen come through in grant requests in recent years too. So there's all sorts of options that could work for indoor recess, outdoor recess. all to give those kids an option of fun things that they can be doing with that free time and keep them active during the day.
Absolutely. And like Meg said, we get a lot of requests for Gaga pit materials and balls and things like that. We've seen great success in really any ideas that all of our schools have had. So if you can think it and come up with a plan and apply funds towards it, we're happy to help when we can. So just so everyone knows too, Boyd Elementary is the school in Fort Wayne that created their own Ninja Warrior course modeled after the Keener Dairy Farm. And one of the fantastic things about their course as well is that not only could the students take advantage of the whole thing, but it was in an area at the school where the community could come and enjoy the course as well. So really a great facet for the whole area.
That's a great point. Yep.
Now, moving along here, we, like I said, we're joined by Dana Cassidy, the principal of Batesville Intermediate School, and Kathy Cooley, a community dietitian through Margaret Mary Health. And Dana and Kathy, I'm happy to turn it over to you all and for you all to share with everyone on the webinar today the fantastic event that you guys host just about annually now. So take it away.
Thank you so much, Josh. Well, I'm Dana. I know you can't see my face, but there's a little picture of me down there. And Kathy is joining us as well. I've been the principal. This is my 4th year at Batesville, but well before I came, Margaret Mary had started a wonderful program called the Food Day event. And so I'm going to let her kind of start and tell you a little bit about the backstory and then how we grew that. Our first year was last year, and our plan is to continue this new event well into the future. So Kathy, you want to take it from there?
I sure will, Dana. Thank you. And hello, everyone. So glad that you're taking time today to learn about new ways to reach our children. I work at Margaret Mary Health. I'm a dietitian, and I spend a lot of my time working with older people and folks who need to, either they have diabetes, they have heart disease, they want to lose weight. And it's a tough job. People don't necessarily want to change. And over the years, I've noticed how difficult it is, and have always thought we need to catch kids earlier. We need to catch them when they're young. And so really, Margaret Mary, way back in 2010, started focusing on how could we partner with the schools, because we didn't have to have the children come into the hospital one at a time. We could go there and see 400 or 500 at one time. And so as a community hospital, it was an incredible way for us to reach more people. And I think that I continue being excited about this program because we are reaching so many children with just a small amount of our time. I also love, the other thing I love about working with the schools as a hospital and as a dietitian is that I call it reverse education. So when the children learn it, they go home and teach their parents. And sometimes I think it's a stronger message than if the parents learn it and try to teach their children. So that's what motivates Margaret Mary to be involved in this program and continue to support the schools in any way we can with their farm to school efforts. So the program got started back in 2013, and this is actually this year's Food Day, which is a great example of how we partner with people. But we started back in 2013, just Batesville, just the Batesville schools and just Margaret Mary, but we celebrated sweet potatoes. We picked a food that could be grown in the school gardens, that kids could grow. We picked a food that was in the fall that farmers could harvest for us, and we could use local farm products, and a food that the cafeteria folks would be able to make in their cafeterias. And kind of most importantly, we tried to pick foods that the kids didn't normally eat so we could encourage them to try something new, which is a great skill set to learn. So that's kind of how Food Day got started, but it grew into being actually a statewide program with cooperation from Purdue Extension, the Food and Growers Association here in Batesville, the Indiana State Department of Health, the Department of Education. So now we've picked a food of the year every year, and it's spread across the state. So that's a brief message of how we got started and what we're doing.
Next slide, please. Okay, so this is part of that that experience. We have a food day at the local farmers market, but then we have a tasting day at school. And tasting day is where the kids get to taste 2 different recipes. Last year, they were able to taste pesto pasta, and they were also able to taste a yogurt dip because it was herbs and yogurt that was the food of the year. So the kids try those 2 foods, they vote on their favorite, and then the food that wins is served in the cafeteria at a later date. But because we normally had a presentation, and the dietitians would come from the hospital and try to talk to the kids at lunch. And I think everybody who's in the schools knows that lunch is a time that the kids just need to be by themselves. So we always had a hard time sustaining their attention. So last year, perfect timing, we decided that we would try to do a virtual video to introduce those foods of the years. And I know we don't have time to go through that video now, but there's a link to that video that will be attached. I think Josh is planning on putting that in after the session. So you can see that video. Margaret Mary Health did a fantastic job. The kids watched that beforehand and had that background knowledge before they tasted their foods and before the food day, tasting day event. Next slide, Josh.
So actually, Dana, can we go, let's just back up. I just want to say a few more things about those slides, just in case. There we go. I just have a few comments. I just want to point out that one of the biggest things in the success of our program is partnerships. And without, partnerships, it wouldn't work. And so this program is we do it at Batesville Primary School and Batesville Intermediate School Food Day. Now, Dana took it to a new level at her school last year, but typically we've done it at those 2 schools. But we've involved the high school each year because they've always made the table decorations. So even the art class, and this year actually it was the gardening group, but even though those students aren't tasting the food, they're actually learning just as much as these students because they're making the table decorations for us over the years. So if you can see this year, the ones were herbs. So we had the ag class actually grew those herbs for us so that we could put them in a little pot and put them there. So anyway, we always get just as many people involved throughout the school system, throughout the community actually, as we possibly can. Okay, go ahead.
Thank you, Kathy. And yeah, you'll see that in just a minute, that community involvement was huge for this specific year. And you should also know that the tasting day, although we can't do it in the way that we've normally done it in the past, we can't have the dietitians in, we can't have kids trying a whole bunch of different things in the cafeteria. But this year, the food of the year is spinach. We were able to get a grant last year from the Fuel Up to Play guys, and we got some smoothie makers. And so this year, Margaret Mary's going to make us a nice little video showing how smoothies are made. And then we're just going to deliver those smoothies to the kids in their classroom. So it's not the food day event that they normally have, but we can still do something in this COVID time, in this crazy sessions, these crazy times that we're in to make it special for the kids. So after that food day, and as we started brainstorming early last year, I said, you know what, let's do a little more with that. And with Kathy's amazing team and our amazing team, we sat down and came up with this idea for a wellness bazaar. We had all the great aspects of the food tasting event, but we just added all those other aspects of wellness that we were trying to hit at school. Healthy eating is just a little part of our overall wellness, and we wanted to showcase all of those at our event. Next slide. So one of the things we thought was, let's knock out all those things that we try to do at the beginning of the year anyway. We always need to do blood pressure screenings with our kids. We always try to do the glow germ event where the kids can see how important hand washing is. So we thought, okay, let's make some stations where the kids can kind of rotate through, visit the things that we have to do. We'll get those out of the way, but then also do some introductions to some of the other aspects of wellness and aspects of yogurt and dairy and growing foods and farms that we could include. Next slide. So Fuel Up to Play, we happened to get the flag football kit that year. So last year, one of our stations was flag football. It was the first time that the students were introduced to it. And we were really trying to figure out, okay, how can we make all of this happen? So instead of having their special class, art, music, gym on this day, the kids had a station session. So they were able to spend 45 minutes going through the stations for our wellness bazaar instead of going to gym, art, music, or library, which gave us extra people to help go to all these stations. So our gym teacher ran the flag football station instead of teaching gym class that day. You can go right to the next slide, Josh. Group exercise was another thing we wanted to incorporate in some of our weight training. And we were so excited because the YMCA jumped on board. They were so happy to participate. They brought equipment, they brought volunteers, they ran games for the whole day, and the kids got to see some of the important aspects of how you can include weight training in your day. And it doesn't have to feel like lifting weights all the time. You'll see them playing with the balls, and they were running outside before the rain started that day, doing some things out there. Next slide. Kathy, I'm going to let you jump in here because this is a lot of your activities on this page.
Okay, well, so we, part of Food Day over the past years has always been celebrating our local farmers. And so we've always picked a food that we could get grown locally and actually serve it in the cafeteria. So Michaela Farm was the farm who grew the basil that we used in both the pesto and also in the dip that the kids made with the yogurt. And so this station you see up on the left was called Farm Strong. And that's me there helping them. The farmer actually got sick that day, I think, and he didn't get to show up, but we had hoped that Michaela Farm would be there. Kind of up in the left-hand corner, you can see a plant. That was a basil plant that the kids got to actually see growing. But this actually was quite fun. We had a little course that they had to see how far they could carry this bale of straw. And it was really, really great to see the kids who do live on farms. They just could pick that up with one hand and take it around. So they were the heroes of the day for sure. And that was a great opportunity for them to show how you can get strong by work. And we talk a lot about that. We also had a station where they could smell the different herbs. There's one of Margaret Mary's volunteers down there in the purple shirt, and she's letting them all make pesto. So you can see the pesto, what do you call them? Mortar and pestle down there that the kids actually put basil in there and saw what it took to make pesto.
We also let the kids taste vanilla yogurt and plain yogurt. So we were trying to incorporate every sense that we could in the day. So they had a tasting station just to vote on which their favorite was and what those kind of things could be used for, what we would use vanilla or plain yogurt for. And if you go to the next, actually up in the top corner of that slide right before, we had the farms tour playing that Fuel Up to Play 60 had hosted. So we had that playing that kids could watch and see as well. And then we had some interactive lessons. We felt it was important to include our PTO and our 5th grade leadership team. They jumped right in. We had some games where the kids smelled the different herbs and decided which recipes they would go with. We also talked about how much sugar was in different beverages, and you can see them trying to move the sugar cubes to the different kinds of drink options. And those stations were completely run by volunteers who had no idea how special the day was going to be, but it just turned out wonderfully because we had so much help and so much community involvement. If you can go to the next slide for us. We also felt it was important, and I think everybody knows this, in the chaos of a school day, sometimes we just need some quiet. And we wanted to give the kids a few ways to practice social emotional wellness as well. So they were able to paint the little gnomes that you see in the little pots of herbs. We also had an area for students to color pictures and write letters to our overseas military. And one of our high school students had designed a little the gnome, the food of the year guy, and we had his head cut out so they could get pictures as a special memory of the day. So we really wanted to incorporate all aspects of wellness, and it was a beautiful day and something we look forward to in years to come. Our final slide just encourages you, think about what you have in your community. There are so many different people and businesses that are willing to help and will step up in small ways, but to make a small event into a great big event that can make a huge difference for the kids and the families in your area. Margaret Mary did a great recap video. There's a link as well to that video that then they used to kind of publicize the event, and that we will use in the future as well. That's all I've got. Kathy, do you have anything?
Well, yeah, you know, Dana, you kind of mentioned ideas for how to make this virtual. In one way, certainly for this year, because we can't do what we like to do, be right there. But I think one way is videos and making videos. But another thing that we've been doing here at Margaret Mary with good success is we've actually been doing Google Meets or Microsoft Teams or Zoom, but we've been going live into the classrooms. Our community health department has been doing live presentations to classrooms about marijuana and drugs, and we've been going to the garden classes and talking to them. And actually, it's pretty fun. It's a great way. We actually almost like it better because we can reach more classrooms. We can do more. So I think that your partners in your communities, your health folks would welcome an opportunity to reach so many people.
Thank you very much,
That's
Dana
all.
and Kathy. You guys both make a very important and great point about engaging with community. I think that Meg and I both can speak to the schools that we see partner with outside organizations, or I know that Batesville partnered with a local farm to bring produce in, and things like that. I think that we've seen the most success with those types of partnerships. They're invaluable, and even the small on like the smaller end of partnering with the high school students to come in and be those mentors and speak to those important pieces of health and wellness are outstanding. And again, that's kind of where we've seen a lot of success. That doesn't mean you can't be successful without them, but they definitely are helpful, especially when they work so well. I was at that food day for a little bit, filming for a School of the Week segment, and I can also vouch for it that it was an incredible event and a lot of great resources, lessons learned, and information for the students that I also think had a lot of fun throughout all the activities. Now I'll turn it back over to Meg here to cover one of the resources that you guys will be receiving early next week.
Thank you. Yes, this ties right back into like the ladies were talking about with the whole farm to school play. So again, this is one of those options within Fuel Up to Play 60 to really broaden the opportunities for your students. And what's great about this play is our resources are immense here at Dairy. So there's a lot of options we have for you. So I wanted to take just a moment to call through what some of these might include. Just like the ladies were saying, being able to have experiences still this year, even though we can't do in person, is completely understandable. So we have a number of dairy farm tours that are normally available throughout the year at farms near you throughout the state of Indiana. But this year, we're bringing you even more on a virtual platform. So there's some where you can actually sign up live. They're all listed on our website as they're coming up throughout the year. So that you can have your students ask the farmers questions directly. Another cool thing is we actually have a number of tours that are already saved out so that you can find the time that works best for your schedule and play them at that time. This one sheet is going to be digital so that you can actually link from here directly to some of those resources. And you see pictured in one of them is a Zoom screen that actually includes one of the Colts players, Quentin Nelson, who joined us for his first virtual farm tour to get a feel for how much work and care goes into creating milk and dairy products for your students. So that's a great resource in addition to calling out some of these other programs. So the Food Day is right here, like we talked about. There is a link to a video that Josh was able to help put together in addition to the ones that they have. We also have some really great activities. So a farm to school activity booklet If you're looking for more ideas of things that you could be able to make use of, whether students are with you in the classroom or virtually. Even a cool video from our friend Blue at the Colts as he got a tour of what it's like to take the milk from the farm, be able to get it processed and then turned into great milk to be able to come into the cafeterias. So a lot of great pieces that you can hopefully get some ideas from and see that might be able to easily incorporate into your program so that you can then check off this play as something that you've been able to accomplish for your school. What's great about these plays is by being connected to fueluptoplay60.com and being registered as a program advisor, you simply check off as your school goes through these activities, and there's great rewards and prizes that come along the way. And if you become a touchdown school with the physical activity play partnered with the healthy eating play, it's even better. So just food for thought as you're putting programs together and thinking ahead to what can maybe offer some great resources to your school at the back end.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Meg. Appreciate you sharing. And like she said, there's a lot of great resources in this sheet. So when we do send it out next week, please do check out all the different videos and valuable information on the handout. So in other news related to Field to Play 60, we currently have 2 grants open and available. The first grant that is available is called the Hometown Grant. It's a $10,000 grant that comes through the NFL Foundation. Since we're partnered with the Colts here in Indiana, it's the Colts Hometown Grant. So for that grant, it must be used for Field to Play 60 and include a focus on healthy eating that, obviously includes dairy. That grant is aimed more towards a whole district as opposed to a single school. But if you're just a single school trying to start up your Field to Play 60 program or continue to build it, we also have Field to Play 60 fall grants available now. There'll be grants that are available up to $1,500 split between healthy eating and physical activity plays. And those links are within these slides. Again, all of this information, the slides, the handouts, the links to videos and links to applications will be put together into an e-blast to send out to you all next week. So don't worry about trying to write down the address now. We'll get that to you as soon as we can. Another exciting piece of news is that we'll be hosting a webinar kind of keynote session with former Indianapolis coach Tony Dungy. We're working with the Dairy Council of Florida, so the equivalent of us in Florida, to host this, and Coach will be talking about uncommon leadership and the work-life balance. So relating it back to Field to Play 60, we have the insight that he has a lot of fantastic stories, which I don't doubt for a second. So again, this is another exciting opportunity happening on November 9th. This one's a little bit longer, but I think Coach Dungy is probably a little bit more exciting and something fun to watch on a Monday. So again, look for that link as well, and hopefully we will see you there to join us as well. And then I will turn it back over to Meg to cover some of these last few details.
Yes, so these are really great additional programs or resources we wanted to make sure that you saw and had access to. So we've been including these within our newsletter as well. But the first one is a Fuel to Play 60 homeroom that's out on the national website. It's very easy to find when you go to fueluptoplay60.com and gives you really cool activities, videos, things that you can be doing with your students or make it shareable for them. And they have some really fun prizes connected to that too. So there's players with NFL players are part of these videos, mascots. It's just a lot of fun and very easy to navigate. Second piece is we have launched a Facebook page just for Indiana Fuel Up to Play 60 program advisors or people interested in the program and learning more. So this is also jam-packed with great resources and information, what's current and coming up. So we'd love for you to be able to connect with it there, as well as other program advisors. Next is our Farm Tour Friday. So just like I mentioned, this is something we offer throughout the school year. Our next one's coming up in just a few weeks, and we'd love to have you join us. Again, this is easy for students to join in and log in from home if need be, or within your classroom, but we have all the details on our website, and that link will be active for you as well. Finally, the Schools of the Week. So this is an ongoing program and partnership that we've had with the Colts for several years now. And our hope is to highlight all the great work that you're still able to do in looking after your students for their health and wellness. We would love to hear what you're doing. Send us photos, keep us posted so that we can try to find ways to help highlight these programs still taking place throughout the school and hopefully inspire those watching as well. So stay connected, share them either with me or with Josh as you have them. And we'd love to, again, be highlighting your program. Here's another fun one. This is another example of these takeaway sheets that we are putting together for you. So you'll be getting this next week with the webinar, as well as a program evaluation. We would love any feedback from your time with us here today, just to make sure we continue to offer you great insights and information. And doing so, we'll be able to send you some fun prizes connected to Fuel Up to Play 60. So look for that email coming, and we'd certainly appreciate your help to complete the evaluation.
Well, thank you very much, Meg, for covering those last few details here. Thank you again, everyone who took the time again to attend today. Thank you, Dana and Kathy. Now, I know we're about at time here, but I will open it up for a minute or two. If anyone has any questions, please feel free to write it into the chat box. But while we're waiting here for a minute, just a reminder, our next webinar will be in November. We'll be covering the healthy eating play, Fight Hunger, Help Nourish Your Community, and the physical activity play in-class physical activity breaks, good for mind and body. The registration link will be sent out in an e-blast the first week or so of November, so keep an eye out for that. It'll also be on the Fuel Up to Play 60 Program Advisor Facebook page for Indiana Program Advisors. And again, it's easy to register, just sign up, and I'll make you the promise now that next time I will have everyone's video turned on so that it goes a little bit better than today. So I don't see anything in the chat box. So again, thank you all for taking the time today to join us, to hear from Dana and Kathy about the fantastic food day at Batesville Intermediate School. And we hope to see you next month in November on the 17th at 3 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Again, just a 30-minute window. So we look forward to seeing you and can't wait to chat more. Hope you guys have a good rest of your day, and we'll chat soon.